Good evening. I'm Haylee Ficuciello. New York City has its share of controversial mayors over the years. Some fought for crimes, some tackled fiscal crimes, some guided the city through blackouts, recession, terrorist attacks, and natural disasters. Some succeeded, some failed, but regardless of where they stood politically, most understood one simple truth. The mayor of New York City is supposed to represent all New Yorkers, not just people who agreed with them, not just with activists who cheered them on, not just with the loudest voice on social media, all New Yorkers. And as each day passes, more and more New Yorkers are beginning to ask whether Mayor Zohran Mamdani understands the distinction, because controversy after controversy began to raise serious concerns about the relationship with New York City's Jewish community and whether City Hall is focusing on governing or grandstanding. Let's begin with the latest example. The mayor's decision to boycott New York City's annual Israel Day parade. For decades, the parade has served as one of the most largest public celebrations of Jewish heritage and support of Israel anywhere in America. Democrats attended, Republicans attended, governors attended, members of Congress attended, community leaders attended. Even politicians who disagreed sharply on foreign policy have traditionally recognized the importance of showing solidarity with one of New York City's largest and most influential community. But not Mayor Mandami. Instead, he stayed away. Again, apparently bringing people together has become less important than making political statements. Now, let's be clear. People have every right to criticize the Israeli government. That's part of living in a free society. Reasonable people can disagree about foreign policy. Reasonable people can disagree about Middle East affairs. That isn't the issue. The issue is the pattern, and the pattern matters because eventually a long string of decisions begins telling a story. Then came another controversy, the growing efforts to remove former Mayor Ed Koch's name from the Queensbridge Bridge. Now, think about this for a moment. New York City faces rising costs, housing crisis, quality of life concerns, public safety challenges, transit system that constantly frustrates commuters, businesses leaving the city, residents struggling to afford rent, and somehow we're being told that one of the pressing issues facing New York City is whether a bridge could continue carrying the name of one of the city's most recognizable former mayors. Really? That's where our priorities are? Ed Koch was not a perfect man. No mayor is, but he was undeniable one of the most defining political figures in modern New York history. A proud New Yorker, a proud Jewish American, a larger than life personality who left a permanent mark on the city he loved. Yet, somehow, City Hall seems more interested in reopening political battles than solving today's problem. Critics point to a much broader record. Mandami has long supported the boycott, divestment, and sanction movement, commonly known as BDS. Supporters describe it as an effort to pressure Israel economically. Critics argue it's unfairly singling out one of the world's only Jewish states. Whatever side one takes in this debate, many Jewish New Yorkers see a troubling consistency. Every controversy seems to involve the same target. Every symbolic gesture points to the same direction. Every political battle appears to arrive at the same destination. And eventually, people begin asking questions, not because they're confused, because they're paying attention. Then came the controversy surrounding the phrase globalize the intifada. Many Jewish organizations have condemned the slogan, arguing that the carries associated with a period of violence and terrorism directed at Israelis. When asked repeatedly about the phrase, Mandami faced criticism for failing to inadequately condemn it in the way many Jewish leaderships hope he would. His defenders argued that he was discussing broader political meaning, perhaps, but leadership is not an academic seminar. Leadership is not a college debate club. Leadership requires clarity. If millions of people telling you the phrase frightens them or makes them feel targeted, a mayor's first instinct should not be to explain why they're wrong. A mayor's first instinct should be to listen. Then there was the controversy surrounding City Hall's release of the Nakba related videos. Again, another politically charged issue, another deeply divided debate, another decision that generated concerns amongst Jewish residents. Notice the pattern? The city struggles with affordability. The city struggles with public safety. The city struggles with quality of life. Yet the controversies emerged from the city hall often seem rooted in ideological activisms rather than practical governance. It's almost as if governing New York City has become an extension of campus politics. The problem in New York City isn't a college campus, it's America's largest city, and New Yorkers expect results, not lectures. Perhaps what gets lost in the debates is the scale of which it's at stake. New York City is home to the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. Nearly 1 million Jewish residents call the city home. These are not abstract statistics. These are families, business owners, teachers, doctors, police officers, firefighters, neighbors, taxpayers, whose families helped build New York City into one of the greatest cities on earth. Many are now asking a simple question: does City Hall truly understand their concern? Because leadership is not about representing only those who voted for you. Leadership is about representing everyone, even those who disagree with you. Especially those who disagree with you. Here's what makes this entire situation so remarkable. The mayor and many of his supporters often portray criticism as somehow unreasonable, as though concerns are being exaggerated, as though these controversies simply appear out of thin air. But controversy does not appear by magic. Controversy follows decision. Controversy follows priorities. Controversy follows statements. And when those controversies repeatedly emerge from the same direction, people eventually begin drawing conclusions on their own. The irony is impossible to miss. New Yorkers were promised a fresh vision, a new style of leadership, a mayor focused on progress, a mayor focused on unity, a mayor focused on solving problems. Instead, what New Yorkers see is a steady stream of ideological battles, symbolic fights, and social media headlines. The city doesn't need another activist. The city needs a mayor. There is a difference. Activists seek confrontation, mayors seek solution. Activists rally their supporters, mayors govern the entire city. Activists win arguments, mayors solve problems. Those are not the same job. And increasingly, many New Yorkers are wondering whether City Hall understands the distinction. And perhaps the question hanging over all of this is larger than any single controversy, larger than a parade, larger than a bridge, larger than political slogans. Because with the 25th anniversary of September 11th of 2001 terrorism attack now just months away, New Yorkers are preparing to remember one of the darkest days in American history. 25 years, a quarter century, 25 years since nearly 3,000 innocent Americans were murdered, 25 years since firefighters raced into collapsing towers, 25 years since police officers, paramedics, construction workers, and ordinary citizens demonstrated extraordinary courage in facing unimaginable evil. 25 years since New Yorkers stood shoulder to shoulder regardless of religion, ethnicity, political affiliation, or neighborhoods. For one brief moment, New York was reunited. America was united. People didn't ask who voted Republican. People didn't ask who voted Democrat. People didn't ask who was Jewish, Christian, Muslim, or atheist. They simply stood together as Americans. That generation of New Yorkers understood something that many politicians today appear to have forgotten. The strength of New York City has never come from division. It has never come from ideological purity tests. It has never come from constantly reopening cultural and political battles. The strength of New York City has always come from bringing people together, which brings us to the simple question: with the 25th anniversary of September 11th just months away, is this really what New York needs? Does New York need more division, more controversy, more symbolic fights, more political theaters, more social media activism? Or does New York need leadership focusing on public safety, affordability, economic opportunity, quality of life, and uniting the people who called the city home? Because when future generations look back at this moment, they won't remember the hashtags, they won't remember the viral posts, they won't remember the social media applause. They will remember whether New York City's leader brought people together when unity was needed the most, or whether they chose to divide them even further. And for many New Yorkers watching City Hall today, that question becomes harder and harder to ignore in each day passing. I'm Haylee Ficuciello for Englebrook Independent News. Thank you and good night.